For the proposed school year 2026-2027 Lebanon School District budget in the amount of $59,131,960, which includes $57,231,960 for the general fund, $800,000 for the food service fund, and $1,100,000 for grant funds. So I'd like to open the public hearing. If there is any public comment in the room, you can come to the microphone, and if you'd like to make a comment, please state your name and ward so it can be included in the minutes, and please limit your time to 3 minutes. Is there any public comment in the room? Sure. Hopefully this microphone is on.
Hi, Patty Beek, Ward 2.
Sorry, can you say your name again?
Ward 2.
No, your name. I just couldn't hear you.
Patty Beek.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I know Kamala.
Thank you.
I printed out this budget reduction scenarios, and first I want to say thank you for reducing the increase from 7.11% down to
4.5.
So I appreciate that. With an increase of 7.11% would have been, in my opinion, pretty outrageous during these times where people are struggling to stay in their homes and put food on the table. I'm just trying to understand from what of these scenarios, what things were cut. Because if there was a meeting about that, I wasn't there. But some of these things, like the rooftop classroom, was that cut?
Yes, like if you're probably, and excuse my voice, I'm losing it. If you're
Yeah.
looking at that first part, most of them are all proposed cuts. We've been going back with the SAU team and principals to get to that 4.5%. But let me maybe helpful is the things that we haven't cut yet. The reduction of teaching staff, so that would be reduction in programming. We did not touch them. There was a proposal for a reduction for 3 teachers. We did not also cut 3 administrative assistants. There's tech equipment that stayed in there. Yeah, that's probably a different color. And then, classroom renovations. And we cut smaller pieces out of the middle school programming and the high school programming to get to that 4.5%.
Okay,
Those
so
are the
like
ones.
the new teaching position at the
That's
Hanover
been
Street
cut.
School, that was cut?
Yeah.
And then the 4 FTE paras through attrition,
Those are cut.
those are cut. The bathroom design from, I think that means Lebanon Middle School, and the senior square bathroom design, were those kept or cut?
The senior square bathroom design was not cut, but the other bathroom design, which I believe is Mount Lebanon Elementary School, was cut.
Okay. I too work for a local school district. Our increase has been kept, I believe, to about 0.7%. I personally work in HR. I do HR, I do payroll, and when we had another staff member within our office leave, I inherited her work. I look at your HR, you have a separate payroll person, and your HR person has a support person, HR assistant. I'm just really concerned that you're overstaffed. I mean, I would really love to have an assistant. I work long hours. So, I mean, I truly feel like you need to look at your staffing. I really feel like you're overstaffed compared to, we're similarly sized to Lebanon. I don't think you're that much bigger than we are.
What district is that?
Mascoma Valley.
Mascoma.
Yeah.
I think we're actually considerably bigger. Like, I know your high school has 287 next year. Ours will be at 667. And then the middle school is 556, and our elementaries are a little bit bigger. So, and I think for staffing-wise, we have a larger amount. We have 196 teachers and 104 paraprofessionals. So district-wise, that,
I
1,600.
mean, I don't know if it's too late for you to still look at your budget. The city relooked at their budget. They're down to 0.7% increase on the city side. I happen to be someone who's working hard to stay in my house. I'm working 3 jobs. I honestly am. I work a part-time job at night. I work long hours for the district, and I work for another job in Hanover for a family doing some cooking and light support to an elderly family. Like, I've lived in my house for 4 years. I moved from Grantham. My kids went to Lebanon schools. I appreciate this school district very much. Both of my kids got the support and the education that I'm proud of. And so honestly, like, I don't have any gripes against the school, but we're all trying to stay in our homes. So I'm deeply concerned about the rate of the increases. My taxes in 4 years have gone up 64%. My property taxes now represent 16.8% of my take-home pay. I've had to cut things from my budget because I could no longer afford them because of the rate of my property tax increase. And if you live in Lebanon, I'm sure you all have experienced the very same things. And I know everyone likes to point fingers, and a lot of fingers go right to the school district. It's unfortunate, but it is the largest chunk in our tax bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room? Is there anyone online?
If you're online and would like to speak, please raise your hand, and I will promote you to a panelist.
Okay. All right, so we will be talking about the budget again, but we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing for now. And I will call to order the board meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. All right, so as I said before, public comment will occur during the public comment portion of the meeting and is done via raising your hand remotely or in person. During public comment, once acknowledged, please state your name and ward so that it can be included in the minutes, and please limit your time to 3 minutes. Public comment is governed by policy BEDH. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I think if we can move some items around this evening for the people in attendance, if that's okay with the board.
Yes, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to move after the consent agenda and before the SAU leadership team update, we'll move 10D through H, which is the programs of study and the handbooks up, so we can just get those done. And then we will do the superintendent update and the business administrator update and then go to the warrant articles and the default budget. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So is there any public comment for the full board meeting in the room? Is there any online?
If you're online and wish to speak at public comment, please raise your hand and I can promote you to a panelist. There is no public comment online at this time.
Great. All right. Our student report, she is not here tonight, but she has given us an update. Do we all have the update? No? Do I have the only person who have it? I think I have it. So she says, we set a date for the school dance, which is the March 7th. The theme is Under the Sea, and like they did for homecoming, 20% of ticket sales will go to Stevens High School. Wellness Week will be the week after midterms, with midterms are next week. The Spirit Days have been planned. Council will be giving out hot chocolate and tea at stations throughout the school. Basketball concessions, they have made a couple $100s from concessions and they have not needed a restock, so the profit is high, so they're happy about that. And again, 20% of those sales are going to Stevens High School as well. And they are looking into ideas for doing halftime games to entertain the crowd. They give an update on their a letter to Kelly Ayotte regarding the cell phone policy. Our athletics and academics group presented their draft of the letter for feedback, and they are now working on cleaning it up and making adjustments after getting feedback from the whole council. Any questions? I can't answer them if you have any, but do you have any that we can relay to her? No? Okay, great. All right, correspondence?
We got a letter from the Upper Valley Land Trust confirming Lebanon School District compliance with conservation easement on one of our properties.
Great, thank you. All right, that brings us to the consent agenda. We need a motion to approve the non-public minutes from December 10th.
I'd like to change it up a little bit.
Okay.
Can I do that?
Do whatever you want.
All right, I'm going to
You're
make
making the motion.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda, including the non-public meeting minutes for December 10th, the December 10th public hearing minutes, and the December 10th minutes.
Great.
I will second.
Okay, motion by John, second by Tia. Any additions, changes, edits for those? No? Excellent. All right. All right, so all those in favor? Okay, any opposed? Any abstentions? One abstention. All right, great. Thank you. Okay, so that means we're going to move to the discussion and action of the handbooks. So we'll start with D, 10D, which is the MLS and HSS handbooks. And we're just gonna run through these. So if you have anything that is a glaring question or concern with those handbooks, the administrators of those schools are here. We'll start with MLS and HSS. They're not in the packet. They're online because there's 75,000 of them.
Your changes, the changes that were highlighted are in the packet, though.
Yeah, they have a little page that says what changes were, but the things themselves are online. They're too big. Any questions for Mount Leb or Hanover Street? Nope. Okay, I need a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve the elementary handbook changes for 25-26 as outlined in the packet.
26,
26-27 as outlined in the packet.
All
I
right.
will second.
Okay, motion by John, second by Tia. All those in favor? Great, thank you. All right, then that moves us to the LMS handbook. We're going to do these together. The LMS handbook and the program of studies. There are little, like, one-pagers that say what those changes are, and then the handbooks themselves are online. Tom is here if you have any questions. Do we have any questions about LMS, program of studies, or handbook? No? All right, motion.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve the LMS student and parent handbook and the LMS program of studies as outlined in the packet.
I'll second.
All right. All those in favor? Great. All right, and that brings us to the high school student and parent handbook and the program of studies. Any questions for the high school? No? Can we get a motion?
I will make a motion that we approve the LHS program of studies and parent handbook for 26-27 as outlined in the packet.
I will second.
All right, motion by John, second by Tia. All those in favor? Great. I want to thank the administrators of the schools for the great work that they did in getting these to Education Committee in a timely manner and making all sorts of changes and additions, so we appreciate that. Thank you all for your hard work on this. All right. One moment, please. Sorry, we had to confer. Okay. All right, so we're going to make one more change to the agenda, and we're going to go straight into 10C, which is discussion and action on the default budget approval. Tim, do you have anything to share with us about this?
This long sheet I handed out today just was cut off during the board packet. It's the same information that I had prepared during the board meetings in the past, but hopefully you had a chance to look it over. The default calculation is a general fund of $56,624,995. When you add to it $800,000 for the food service grant and $1.1 million for the grant fund, it's a total of $58,524,995. The cents won't go on the warrant. The difference to the proposed budget is $606,964. Do you have any questions or comments?
Can you just for
Sure.
people who are listening, can you just define
Sure.
what is the default versus the other?
The default budget is in law if you're in what they call an SB2 town, which is a town that votes in the election booth, and traditional town meeting. Everybody debates what the number is, and that's the number, but this mechanism was put in place that if the budget is not passed, this number goes into effect. This number set by statute is to take the current year's budget, the budget we're in now, you take out all the one-time expenditures, so I took out all the furniture, all the technology, all the one-time stuff, I went line by line. You take that out, you add in any sort of contracts that you have to pay, like CBA agreements, healthcare, increase in cost of electricity, and that's the number that goes on this budget. So, although I'm assuming it was designed to be like a bare minimum, how you can operate, I want to be clear that it is a math equation of this year's budget minus one-time expenditures plus commitments, and that's all it is. And so that number, if the budget that's on the warrant fails, this is the number that we would have to make work. But that's, I've said this 100 times, it's not some bare minimum calculation by the administrators, it's just right out of the law. So that's what represents this number.
And can you tell us the difference between this number and the proposed budget number?
$606,964.
Okay. Oh, yeah, it's on the bottom of the sheet.
Tim, do you have the math handy? I know that whenever we were discussing the budgets before, we were able to kind of guesstimate based on property what that meant for the increase per person. So what would that difference be depending on the household?
The proposed budget, we'll get to, but that's 62 cents per thousand. This default is 57 cents per thousand. So if you have a $400,000 house, this default is $230 more per year. $600,000 house, it's $344.99, $345. And if you have a $1 million house, it's $575 per year.
I'm sorry, what's the difference between it and the 4.5% one? Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah, that's 600.
No, I'm sorry, I understand it's $606,000. I meant, what were the,
So at a $400,000 house, if the default passes, your budget goes up, the default is in effect, your taxes go up $230.
okay,
If the budget passes, they go up $248.
okay, so it's a
So it's
difference of
$18.
$18 a year.
$17.90.
I don't know if you caught, it's 62 cents for the proposed budget versus 57 cents
Correct.
for the default was kind of the easier to remember, I thought.
Okay.
Okay.
After you make a motion on that, I'll probably I have the budget together, but the actual budget has to be put back in the system and reprinted, so probably either Friday or Monday, if you can stop by the SAU and sign all 3 forms, that'd be great, instead of trying to track it down now, because you're gonna have to do the budget later. I don't have that ready tonight, so,
Carrie?
Tuesday. She asked if we're open Monday, I forgot it's a holiday, so it would have to be Tuesday. Okay.
Okay.
Any questions about the default? Thank you very much for your patience.
So let's do a motion on the default, and then we can talk about the other budgets a little bit. Yeah, talk about the warrants, right?
I'll make a motion that we approve the default budget for $58,524,995.42.
Okay, can I get a second? Second by...
Well, can I offer a friendly, can I ask you to change the number a little bit, because the state doesn't allow cents. So it's 58,524,995.
As Tim mentioned.
Okay, great. Yes, go ahead, Jessica.
Just some brief discussion question. When we say that we are approving the default budget, this is I'm making sure that I'm accurate. We are simply approving the math that Tim has done.
Yes, correct.
We are not approving, we are
No.
simply saying this is the math that has been done that is in accordance with New Hampshire state law.
Right, it's a statutory requirement that we
Correct.
approve that math.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. All right, so, so we have a motion by John and a second by Richard on the approval of the default budget. Any additional discussion on that, or questions? No? All right, all those in favor? Okay, no opposed, okay, unanimous. All right, we're gonna go to 10B and talk about the warrant articles, which also talks about the other budget.
I'm going to help Amy out a little bit because she's hoarse, although my voice is kind of annoying, so sorry. What we do, you can do what you want as the board chair, but what we do now is we go through these warrants, read them over, vote on each warrant article. It's not too late to make changes, but it's just about getting there. So if we're going to make a change, I'd need the approval change approved tonight, and that'll be what we do because I got to put it together.
I think, let me see if I can get this out. In the packet too, you'll see the warrant. I think the next thing is MS 26. 26, the following piece is the explanation of the warrant articles. So if anyone's in the room, there's a packet there. I gave kind of a summary of each of the warrant articles because some of them are new language that we had to do for this year too. So if you have any questions for there too, you can refer to them. They're also for the people that are online in our packet online as well.
What's the deadline for filing the warrant articles, Tim?
The warrant needs to be posted 5 days before the deliberative, so Monday, a week from Monday. That's why I really want to get this sewn up so we can actually post it on a week from Friday.
Okay, so we have we have about a week and a half before it has to be
Correct.
finally posted. Thank you.
When it gets filed, it gets posted around town and online.
Okay. All right, so Article 1, we'll just go through them and see if we have any questions as we go along, right? So Article 1 is the article to elect 3 members of the school board, each for a 3-year term, to elect a school district clerk, a school district treasurer, and a school district moderator, each for a 1-year term. That's pretty straightforward. Any questions about that? No? Okay.
I do have a question. I know when we go through these, because I'll be working on the script too, who's going to read
Oh,
them?
yes, that's right, we need to
Sorry.
assign. So for the deliberative session, we will be reading off the warrants at the deliberative session, and normally what we do is we assign a board member to read that particular thing, and in this case, they'll probably read that and the explanation that goes along with it. So if anyone wants to volunteer to read this one, I am happy to assign it to you. Tia, you want to do this one?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
I just wanted to point out the double hyphen in 1 year.
Yep,
What he said.
yep.
I figured you'd already seen it, Lil.
Yep. Just noticed it. Right. Okay,
This is why it's not final.
okay.
Draft, it says in great big letters.
It's draft. Okay, Article 2, operating budget. To see if the school district will raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, a bunch of legal language, totaling $59,131,960. Should this article be defeated, the default budget will be $58,524,995, which is the same as last year with certain adjustments required by previous action of the Lebanon School District or by law, or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 4013, 10, and 16 to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. This one, the majority vote required by voters, and then also we are going to, when we do our vote, we're going to record our vote tallies in this as well. Is Kevin online by any chance? No, okay. All right. First of all, who wants to read this for the deliberative session? Richard? Okay. Okay. And questions on this? So from our last meeting, one of the things that we discussed our budget in great detail. We talked about things that were cut. What we ended up doing was the school districts gave us several proposals. We adjusted some of those proposals and ended up with this number and this percentage. The cuts that will be made are going to be up to the school district, but we have weighed in on those. And this is the number that we came up with, which is the 4.5% increase, correct? All right. Is there any additional comment on that by anyone here? By any of the board? No? Okay. Just want to make sure clear about what we're doing. All right, Article 3. Sorry, well, are we going to vote all at once? We're going to vote. Yeah. All right, so we're going to do a vote first before we move on to Article 3. A vote on accepting, we actually need to do number 1 as well, even though it doesn't say that we have a vote underneath it.
I'll make a motion that we approve Article 1, election of officials as written.
Okay, motion by John, second by Tia. All those in favor? Okay, so that'll be 8-0.
I'll make a motion that we approve Article 2, operating budget as written.
Okay, motion by John,
I'll second.
second by Tia. Okay, all those in favor? All right, 8-0 again. All right, Article 3. This is the Lebanon Support Staff Collective Bargaining Agreement. To see if the school district will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the Lebanon School District and the Lebanon Support Staff Union, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing level, fiscal year 2027, and the estimated increase in the fiscal year 2028, 2029, and further to raise and appropriate $373,433 for the current fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels. Who would like to read this one?
I'm happy to do it.
Okay, John. Okay, any questions about this one? So this is the result of the negotiations that the district entered into with the Lebanon support staff, which includes whom, Tim? Can you tell me who the support staff represent?
Paraprofessionals, custodians, maintenance, and any LPNs we might have.
Okay, great.
In this CBA, the team actually was able to move to a more cost-effective health plan that will be explained in the explanation piece, but I think that is to be noted. That is one of our goals for cost containment.
Okay, great. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve Article 3, Lebanon Support Staff Collective Bargaining Agreement.
Okay, a motion
second.
by John, second by Tia. All those in favor? Okay, great, 8-0. All right, Article 4, shall the school district, if warrant Article 3 is defeated, authorize the governing body to call one special meeting at its option to address warrant Article number 3, cost items only. First of all, who would like to read this at the deliberative session?
I'll read that one.
Carrie, okay, thank you. Any questions on this one? So this is a relatively new one. We put it in a couple years ago because it became clear that if the collective bargaining agreements were voted down, we didn't have any recourse to redress that. So that's why this has been added. I think we need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve Article 4, special meeting for defeated amended collective bargaining agreement.
Okay, motion by John,
Second.
second by Tia. All right, all those in favor? Great. Okay, Article 5, to discontinue a capital reserve fund, to see if the school district will vote to discontinue the Lebanon School District Emergency Management Crisis Trust Fund created in 2011. Said funds with accumulated interest to date of withdrawal are to be transferred from the district's to the district's general fund. The balance of this capital reserve fund at the end of the 25-26 school year is estimated to be $60,000. And we are discontinuing this because we have another plan for those, that money, and we don't feel like the reasons that it was created are we haven't touched it since it was created, it hasn't been used. Any other questions on that?
So I'm going to have a couple comments on these couple of items and a couple questions about the wording, et cetera.
Okay.
I think it may make sense to sort of address them a little bit together, or at least I'll raise my
5 and 6, is that?
5, 6, and 7 and 8, just because they have some similarities in terms of what the articles are addressing, but the wording is different. So I think that's
So
primarily
we
what
can wait on the vote then for these and just we'll do
I
them.
don't think this will be too hard, but I just wanted to say that that's where I'm coming from. So in terms of 5 and 6, I was asking Tim ahead of the meeting if we were splitting those two transactions apart, the one where we close one capital reserve fund and create another. And yes, there are reasons to do it that way. That's fine. I guess one thing that I was wondering, though, is that to a casual reader, it's not necessarily going to be obvious that the $60,000 that we are putting into the general fund is then going to be sort of immediately repurposed into the healthcare capital reserve fund, and it also can sort of seem like we're just closing a fund because we want to put it into the general fund because we don't have a clear.
So have you read the explanation that goes with it?
I have, and
Okay.
I don't think that that's, if we're going to, we have not historically, in my memory, included an additional sheet with the vote. Are we planning to do that?
Yes.
I'm seeing two different, I'm seeing
No,
different
not with the
reactions
vote, like, we're having a sheet available.
here. Okay. I'm not sure that I think that that is necessarily going to be very effective to the casual reader, and I guess I was wondering if we could add a simple line, perhaps to Article 5, clarifying the intent. We have done this in the past where we changed the wording of the articles at this meeting. But I wanted to ask that question before proposing language because I wasn't sure if we had to do it this way, had to do it with these words specifically, Tim.
You don't have to do it with these words specifically, but everything I do gets approved by a lawyer in DRA, so I don't know. I can send it to her tomorrow and see what she thinks. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Because I think that adding an additional line to possibly clarify, maybe it should be in Article 6, that the $60,000 will be coming. I guess I was getting a little fuzzy in terms of where the money is coming from for these different items, and I think that was also true in Articles 7 and 8 because they use different language. And so I wanted to make sure that we were all really clear on that before we moved forward on these. So the money from the Management Crisis Trust Fund is going to be placed into the general fund, but then the $60,000 to fund the Healthcare Capital Reserve Fund is going to come from the January 30th fund balance available for transfer in excess of $750,000. That's not the same thing. So I think to me that was just a little, I wanted to make sure that we were doing that intentionally.
It is the same thing.
It is the same thing.
Well,
What you're saying with Article A5 is we're closing this fund out, money goes back to the general fund. I close the books at the end of the year of the general fund. If there's money left over, we fund 6, 7, and 8. So it is specific, it's the same thing, but it's different. I know that sounds crazy. I know what you're saying, but if you do it this way, you're closing out Article 5, putting it in the general fund, and if there's money at the end of the year for the general fund, then we fund the next 3. If there's not money, If
And
you
that's-
close this out and there's not money to fund the healthcare cap reserve fund, it doesn't get funded.
Yeah, can I say something too? The way that it's worded here, I think also gives power to the voters of they can say, yes, discontinue this fund, put in the general fund. Then they can vote yes or no on this healthcare capital reserve fund.
That's what you're doing. So we talked about
Right, so we're
repurposing it.
giving them some power in that,
A
right?
straight up warrant article to repurpose it, like we talked about, requires 2/3 vote.
Yeah,
So
so
our
then
lawyer
if
recommended
we,
doing it this way, but there is a risk that one ends and you don't create the new one.
and that is true, and
That
if
we
that's the
did do
will
this
of the
before with, when we
voters.
had 2 building funds, we did it this way.
My question is, if we add a line clarifying that it's to be used for the healthcare reserve fund, does that take away the power of the voters to say,
That's my
we
worry.
just want it, right?
I don't know, but that's what, I wouldn't be surprised if they said that.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
And I think that my concern is that I think that I'm less enthusiastic about discontinuing a fund that we have set up that has specific boundaries around it if we aren't being very clear about why we're doing that, and we're sort of like, that means that our ability to use that fund goes away. Like, it's gone, the fund is gone, and if we don't then also vote to create the other one, then I think we're in a worse position than we were, and that wasn't our intention. So I guess I'm actually okay with the idea of saying we're gonna do the 2/3 vote thing, because that's okay with me. If we don't discontinue a capital reserve fund, that's fine. That leaves us in the same position that we're in now. I think that, and I'm okay with doing it in 2 articles for the sake of sort of the procedural issues, but I think the wording here concerns me, that it's not going to, that we're creating a choice for people where I'm not sure we actually really are looking to create we're not looking to create a contentious issue. This isn't, like, I think I'm not sure why we would do it that way exactly, other than for procedural sake. This isn't a criticism of how we've come up with this, but I would like us to talk about how we're gonna do it, because I'm not enthusiastic about discontinuing a capital reserve fund if we aren't very clear that we're gonna get another one in its place that's to be used for the purposes that we wanna use it for. That to me is not a good trade, and the wording here, and I think the sensibility that we're concerned about is that people are just going to say no to a lot of things without really looking through and understanding a somewhat nuanced position here. So I'm concerned about that.
Do you have proposed language?
No, because I wasn't sure if
Okay.
what the requirements were. I can come up with it pretty quickly in this
But,
meeting.
I mean, it
but
will
I
have to
think-
be approved, and then we'll have to come back and vote, right?
Yep.
We can't, if we don't approve it tonight, we have to come back and have another meeting before,
Next week.
yeah. Because
I mean,
you have to, the latest that you have to have it by is when?
A week from Monday.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could talk about changing, I mean, you can talk about changing the language, but I actually don't think by law you either have to decide to do it with 2 articles or 1. And because no matter how you word Article 5, that once that discontinuation happens, that money has to go somewhere, and it goes into the general fund. And since that money was unexpected, and the voters are deciding to put it in the general fund, we then have to establish the new capital reserve fund. And there's no guarantee that money's left over, which is why warrant articles are always written this way. So we're really talking about whether or not we want 2 warrant articles and do it this way, or change Article 5 to a repurposing wording, which would require, the wording is rather simple, and it would be just to see if the school district will vote to repurpose the Lebanon School District Emergency Management Crisis Trust Fund created in 2011 to the Healthcare Capital Reserve Fund. It's very simple, but then you need a 2/3 vote.
Respectfully, I think there is a third option, which is that we leave it as 2 articles. We just, I think hearing this discussion, which we have not had prior to this moment, I think that I'm okay with discontinuing, with Article 5, we can leave it as it is. I think that we could add a line, I'm fine if we choose not to, but I think that we could move the wording on Article 6 to, like, we use different items in 6, 7, and 8 for no amount to be raised from taxation. We use different capitalization, we put it in a different place in the article. We have changed that in the past to emphasize the fact that this is a no amount to be raised from taxation article. I think that if we moved that line further up, then, or if we call it out in a separate line below, that is another option. We have made those changes in the past. That's not a difficult change to make today, and to clarify or to highlight for folks that these are not items that are going to increase taxation. I think that that is important for people to understand, particularly if we are risking giving up a capital reserve fund without, that it's not being created in the same article. I understand the reason for doing it. I'm fine for doing that, but I think then we want to really make it clear to folks that that the next thing we really want to pass.
I would support the option C of just making no amount to be raised from taxation, it's separate line, right, majority, just above that majority vote required.
For Article 6, you're saying?
For Article 6, or I would also support just combining it that to repurpose a capital reserve fund, John's plan, the option B. I would support either one.
I don't think that's his
That's not my
plan.
option.
That's not his
Oh,
option.
sorry,
He's
sorry.
just telling us what the option is.
And
It's not his
option,
plan.
I'm
sorry,
just
John.
suggesting, there are really two options. You
Right.
can play with the two articles.
I
and a
apologize. I
little
don't
bit
wanna
of
put you under
language.
the
It's
bus
very
like that.
limited. The technical stuff is all there. We really can't change that. Or you go the other option with one warrant article.
So I think that I would also, I think that this, to me, the wording on 6, 7, and 8 are similar but not the same. And I think that if we were to add a line either above the article, below the title, above the article, below the title, or below the article, above majority vote required, that specifically calls out no amount to be raised from taxation.
Yeah, so you just want to, so I'm just trying to clarify what you're saying. So you're saying, take the line that's in the middle of Article 6 and move that to the end of the article. Like, that's the last line.
Or state it twice. I mean, I think either is fine.
And the word no is capitalized by mistake.
Yeah, that's not
It's also,
supposed to be
that line belongs in Article 7. This is why you
Yeah.
just know by now. So
that's
it's
why
going to be, I'm going to add no amount to be raised from
Yes, I
taxation
had
in
a,
Article
I
7
had,
as
that was
well.
partly why I was calling out, like, there's
Yeah.
a little different formatting. I assumed we were gonna catch that, but I wanted to call it out, and I think they should be stated in the same way for each of the articles.
I'm not yelling, no amount to be raised from taxation.
So if it's moved to the end of the article,
Maybe with an extra carriage return in between, just so it's really obvious.
yeah,
Yes, that
yeah,
was-
so you're saying like with the line in between, can we
Like
do
the
that?
idea of no amount to be raised from taxation being blindingly obvious.
And
Yeah, I don't imagine that'd be a problem.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, and I think that's fine.
I also think.
drew an
you-
arrow
I
to move
think
it.
you could also put it at the top, above the article,
I think that's where
below
you're
the
gonna run into
line.
trouble, actually. I think if we put it at the end with an extra space, I think it's gonna be
Fine.
easier with the
That's fine.
legal requirements
Don't-
of.
But I do think that pulling it out for that, for each
Yeah.
of the articles would be a good idea. And again, it sounds like we're gonna work through the fact that, so there's also we say the unassigned fund balance will be sued to reduce the school tax rate. That
Oh my goodness,
should
I'm
probably be
sorry.
changed. And I think that
Yeah, they just all need to say, I think your point is correct, and that's actually one of mine, is those last 3 lines of each of these
Should be identical.
should be identical.
should be identical.
Correct.
Right.
Yes, thank you. So I think that was.
And that's fine, we can fix that. That needs to be fixed.
And
Maybe it's
I-
the last 4 lines,
And I
whatever.
think that if we're going to make the change in terms of the no amount to be raised from taxation, I think it's fine to treat them as separate articles. I think that
Okay.
that's a good change.
Does that make sense to everyone? Go ahead.
Article 6 would have to have that last line be the last line there, further to name the board as agents to expend. So it's going to be different than the others. Otherwise, if we don't include that, then we will need the public to determine use of that
Right,
fund.
but we can move the no taxation after that line, it's just we have to include that line. So that's the one difference between 6 and 7 and 8, is that last, what's now the last line, the agents to expend, we have to include because that's a different fund than the other ones.
Right.
But we can still put no amount.
But we can, yes, that's what we're saying, we can still put
Below
that,
that.
yeah. Does that make sense, Tim?
Absolutely. Yeah, the agents to expend was left off the original CRFs when they were created. We had to have a whole bunch of separate warrant articles to make
Right,
it
so we
so.
just have to make
this
sure we
does both
include
in
it.
one.
And is the, I guess, and I'm just raising this to, as we get clarity on the language, the in excess of $750,000 portion of that line, you noted, I think, Tim, that is split in Article 7 between, like, it goes into it's not included in the same way. Is that, will we correct that, or is that intentional?
I think they're supposed to be identical. I think that's just an oversight.
They will be identical when
Yeah.
I leave here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a jerk. I just wanted to make sure that we're not, like, I know there's fancy footwork that we have to do legally around these items, so I just want to make sure that we're,
Yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. Okay, so let's do 5 before we move on. So now we need a motion. And then we'll
I think you
talk.
had one. I think that you,
We're gonna
You didn't make one yet. You
make a motion to approve Article 5 to discontinue a capital reserve fund as we've amended this evening.
Have we amended 5? Did we amend 5?
you haven't amended.
We haven't amended 5.
Okay, we didn't amend it. So don't include that part in the motion.
Okay, just to prove it as written.
Second.
Okay, second by Richard. All right, so all those in favor of 5? Okay, that brings us to 6. Oh, sorry, who's reading 5? Thank you. Who's reading number 5? Oh, Joe, thank you. Thank you. All right, number 6. We've made some amendments now, or I think we're all on the same page of what those are. Any other questions about the wording of 6 or grammatical things of 6?
Do we need to get it, do we need to get the wording definite in order to vote on it?
I don't think so. I think because we're just changing the order of the words.
Yeah, I think so.
We're agreeing to the words. We're not changing the.
We won't do anything illegal. If we're not allowed to do this, then I'll be
We'll
asking
be
Amy to
back.
call Lil and see if we get a meeting, but I don't
Yeah.
think it's an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, you could just include it in the motion. I move that we approve Article 6 to establish the Lebanon School District Healthcare Capital Reserve Fund warrant article with minor changes, moving no amount to be raised from taxation to
The
below
end.
paragraph, but before majority vote required, and changing the word sued to used.
I don't know.
And I think it's also we're going to need to, but I guess you said minor, with minor changes.
It's just minor changes, yeah. Yeah, including, but not exclusively, yeah. Okay, that's the motion. Second by Leila, okay? Everybody on the same page about this? All right, all those in favor? Great. Who wants to read number 6?
I can read it.
Okay, thank you. All right, number 7. Now, there's going to be changes in the language to make it match 6, 7, and 8. We don't have to put those changes are, but we're going to make them the same. The intent is the same. Anything else in 6, 7, or 8?
And so we will also, in those items, place no amount to be
Yes.
raised.
Yeah, it'll all be the
taxation
same.
below.
Yeah,
Great.
it'll all be the same.
She just said make it the same, right?
Yep, make it the same. Okay, they're all going to be the same. All right, any other questions about that one? I'm not even reading these now. This is the appropriation of the Lebanon School District Construction and Renovations Capital Reserve Fund to see if we vote to raise the sum to be added to the Lebanon School District and Renovations Fund. Okay. And again, this is after, all of these are after the first $750,000 of the unassigned fund balance at June 30th that will be used to reduce the school tax rate at the end of the school year. All right, who would like to do number 7? I can do number 7. I don't have one yet. Okay, all those in favor, I need a motion,
I'll
sorry.
make a motion that we approve Article 7, appropriation to the Lebanon School District Construction and Renovations Capital Reserve Fund based on the changes discussed.
Okay,
Seconded.
all right, motion by John, second by Richard. Any additional questions? All right, all those in favor? Excellent. Number 8, appropriation to the Lebanon School District Special Education Expendable Trust Fund. So to see if the school district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $250,000 to be added to the Lebanon School District Special Education Expendable Trust Fund previously established. This sum comes after the unassigned fund balance. So for everyone, and I think Tim mentioned this earlier, but it's important to say these things, none of these get funded unless there is money beyond the $750,000 that goes back to the taxpayer. And they get funded in the order that they are written. So we are assuming that we're going to have, if we have anything left over, that it goes back to the taxpayer first, and then we fund these as we can. Correct? Okay. Who would like to do number 8? Everyone has done one.
I'm happy to do 2, it's fine.
Okay. Well, except for Jessica.
You
But,
can give it to Kevin.
all right, huh?
You can give it to Kevin.
Jessica and Kevin have done one, but John can do another one. All right. Unless Jessica wants to do it.
Be fine with one person to read all of them. So.
We like to spread the wealth. All right, John, you want to make a
I'll
motion?
make a motion that we approve Article 8, appropriation to the Lebanon School District Special Education Expendable Trust Fund.
Okay, motion by John, second by Richard. All those in favor? Okay, great. Okay, good job.
One more.
One more, number 9, open enrollment. Okay. Shall the Lebanon School District vote to designate Mount Lebanon Elementary School, specifically grades 1 through 4, as an open enrollment school/program pursuant to RSA 194D, thereby allowing non-resident students to attend Mount Lebanon Elementary School in an amount not to exceed 1% of the school's total enrollment? And further, to set the percentage of Lebanon School District resident students permitted to attend open enrollment schools/programs outside the Lebanon School District at 0%. Questions?
Many.
Yes, so many.
From whence did this come?
I'm sorry, Ash, can you keep your mic closer? I'm having a hard
It's
time.
really hard.
From whence did this arise?
So open enrollment was put on the books, I believe, like 94 or 97 under some charter school language. Excuse me, last year, a school tested the waters, Prospect Mountain, and designated themselves an open enrollment school. Thus, people were going to their school. They then sent bills to other school districts at 80% of the sending school's tuition. Because the voting board in the community did not vote to say, no, we don't want to send our kids and our tuition money, they had to pay the money. What also complicates our situation is we have an area agreement with Plainfield and Grantham, and we have several tuition agreements with people that have choice schools like Cornish and Croydon. So this has been kind of going on through legislative committees, through the superintendent's group. We've been meeting with area superintendents and board chairs, trying to figure out with what language what to do, and really to protect the Lebanon School District, knowing that there's future legislation, so who knows what's going to happen after July 1. But we wanted to make sure that we have something on the vote, on the ballot to say we don't want to send our taxpayer dollars to other schools. So, for example, Kearsarge just had their meeting, I believe, last weekend, and they'll accept 30 kids at their high school, but they're going to send 0. So essentially, let's say a Lebanon student would want to go, they could go as part of the choice. We're saying we're not going to pay for that Lebanon student.
What's with the?
You got to get it closer to your mic. Something's wrong with your mic, so you got to be really close.
Why are we interested in having non-resident students attend Mount Leb specifically?
So we had to pick we could do the district, or we could do a specific school or program. Because of our area agreements that come in at 7th through 12th, we wanted to not murky the waters, because that could change our funding formulas and our existing contracts, which could nullify them. Then we looked at Hanover Street in Mount Lebanon, and as you know, and I can give from class sizes too, is Hanover Street class sizes tend to run bigger. So we potentially would have room in Mount Leb. So we chose that as the program at 1%, which would roughly be about 2.5 students.
And I'm assuming.
And that would, our policy that we did on class size,
Yeah.
so that component with there. So just because they want to come, we would have to have room for them to come. You can't really go
Right.
ahead and say, we're going to take 0 and send 0.
So
Okay, that was
I
the
guess
question I was going to ask.
You
You
could
have, you have
no,
to,
right, you could have no vote at all.
Yeah.
But if you have no vote at all, then that's what Pittsfield had no vote. So they ended up losing in the courts, and they had to pay $500,000 to
What
the
if the
school.
voters reject it? What if we don't become, what if we put this on and they say,
We don't want-
we're not going to be, we decline this?
Right, so then would be if any of our students, in different school districts, which we respect their decisions and boards for what the reasons they are due, there's several districts around us that have declining enrollment. Our enrollment is, it's increasing and staying steady through the years. We're very fortunate. But if we did not do anything, and let's say a student wanted to go to Kearsarge, we would have to pay 80% of our tuition. If there were a student with a disability, Kearsarge per se would set the special education rates. They would bill us for that. The other component to this, parents have to transport their kids.
I'm sorry, it's not that I want to save your voice a little bit, and I want to clarify my question.
Sure.
I think that, like, separate from the total issue of open enrollment and how it is going to work in New Hampshire, which I get is, and how, like, that's a huge ball of wax, this warrant article, if, I guess I'm still a little bit hung up on the question of, like, how exactly are we protecting ourselves by saying, yes, I'm sort of understanding what you're saying. That's fine, that we're kind of protecting ourselves in this way. But what happens if, but the other option is we hold no vote on it. We don't include this article. But the other outcome of including this article is that the city votes against it. And we say, nope, we don't pass this article. In that case,
It's like not
legally,
taking a vote.
we
Legally,
have-
we would have to send our money.
so if we
Don't
So if
take a
we
vote.
no, but if we do take a vote and we decline to become an
Same
open
thing.
enrollment, okay, thank you.
And we would not be able to take any kids in the 1%.
So sounds an awful lot like I guess my concern is, this sounds a little bit like a loophole that may get closed.
It probably will. I mean, so,
And so I'm concerned about putting a vote on the book saying, yay, we're going to be an open enrollment district, if then later a loophole gets closed and it says like, well, you voted to be an open enrollment district, so there you are.
so that is a concern, and this is sort of, this language is coming from sort of legal right now, right? Legal is saying, based on our understanding of where the law is right now, what the possibilities are right now, we recommend that districts do this to give themselves even the slightest bit of coverage. Now, the question is voting at all for open enrollment tacit approval of open enrollment? And I think, in my mind, setting our sending at 0 is saying we don't actually approve of this at all. We don't actually want to send our students away. We don't want to send Lebanon taxpayer money away. We want it to be 0. If other students want to come here, that's on them, and we're able to accept them to the extent that we can, which is very limited because we don't have a lot of space because our enrollment is growing. But I think that the recommendation thus far has been you don't have to do anything, but doing something gives you some protection and stops a flood of your students going elsewhere and your tax dollars going elsewhere.
So this is the recommendation of legal.
Yep.
Right, and also prevents, like, if it goes, like I said, just because we said 0% kids can go, parents still have a right to send their kid. It just gives us a legal backing that we saying we're not paying for that student to go. So, because that was the lawsuit, the wording was because that other district did not take a vote to say, we did not want this.
so if we said 0% and 0% in the vote,
They recommend not doing that because that is clearly is clearly trying to circumvent the law.
it's basically, so if you said 0% and 0%, you'd be saying you're going to be an open enrollment school program, but not be an open enrollment school program.
Essentially.
And there's no protection to not being an open enrollment school, But if you set the open enrollment at a very low rate for incoming and no rate for outgoing, you are technically an open enrollment school program with limitations, and it's not necessarily going to be overturned in court immediately.
Or at all, we don't know.
Well,
Or,
it-
or
it
there,
could-
or
could
there'll
be.
be, or there'll be legislation that changes it, right? Like,
Yeah, they might
that-
be like, well, you have to accept 5% or something like that.
There's
Right.
lots of legislation to kind of put the pause on open enrollment until they can work out some of the funding mechanisms too of,
That would be nice.
it goes on the cost per pupil, so districts that don't have a high school, their cost per pupil is a little bit different. You throw in CTE centers and the cost from that, who pays for that? And also, for one of the things for me too, it really is an advantage for parents that can drive their kids to other schools. So kids, kids at disadvantage don't get to take.
Is there a timing, like, if we, I guess, like, with the warrant articles, when would this go into, does it go into effect immediately?
July 1.
July
We
1?
would then, let me back up a little bit. So get the warrant article. On February 11th, at our next meeting, we would hold a public hearing, so we could gather some feedback from there. Our intention is to get as much information out to our community so they can understand this. And I think that's going to be in collaboration with our area partners and those other areas, school districts that are grappling with this as well. And then we would go, luckily we have our class size policy, which we have some language in there from there. And then we would set kind of an application process. And then we would set timelines. So, but would it be for the 26-27 school year?
And we can't push it off. We couldn't like say this is we couldn't like pass it, but say it goes into effect at a later date or something?
No.
Just wondering if we could like, kick
Yeah.
the can down the
No,
road.
I
Sounds like
think,
no.
I mean, for me, my recommendation, just to protect the district, although, as we know with the current legislation, I'm not sure there's like, people like, let's put a pause on it, and some people are like, let's combine SAUs and everybody is in one district.
I think an important thing to keep in mind with another reason why we have, or I feel comfortable with the 0% is because all of our surrounding districts are also doing 0% because, and for me, it is protecting our neighbors, not just our area agreement neighbors, but also Muskoma and our other close by. The only ones who are not doing a warrant article like this are Hanover because they have a two-state problem that the rest of us don't have. And so they have been counseled not to mess with this at all because of they would have a problem with their other state, right? But everyone else is setting it at 0 because we do not want to bleed students from other districts, right? We don't want to, I personally don't want to put ourselves in a position where we're fighting and suing each other, which is what this would do for what's your 80%, what's my 80%, what's that, what's this? I mean, it really can, open enrollment as a concept can damage rural small schools in particular. And I do not want us to be doing that to our neighbors. And our neighbors don't want to do that to us. And so that's been the kind of general consensus with legal, in agreement with legal, is to say, well, can we not hurt each other as much as possible? Layla, you were going to say something?
I really appreciate the recommendation of this article. I think it's a nice way of being as proactive as we can against, to be candid, a great amount of non-listening from the state about what the repercussions will look like. So I think it's a great way to follow the law while also kind of trying to support our own community.
I think too is that every year we can look at this too to see if we are going to add a different program or a school. But like, as this is following the current law. And
Well, then I move that we approve warrant Article 9, open enrollment.
I second.
Okay. Any additional discussion? John, do you want to say anything?
This is a tough topic for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know on this one. I have faith that the students in Lebanon like being in Lebanon, that the students, that we're not going to see an exodus. I don't think we have a liability that we're going to have 10 or 15 high schoolers try to exit our district or something like that. So I'm not so concerned. I think open enrollment may or may not come. If it does, it does. So I appreciate, the 0%, but I don't feel like it's a huge liability for us. But that's just my opinion.
I think the liability is coming from the opposite end of giving us the ability to budget. That we would more likely be in the position of being a receiving school without forewarning. And then the kind of, is it an exodus school is the kind of being kind and considerate of that's putting that pressure and confusion on our neighbors, is how I'm kind of reading the situation, which kind of gives me confidence to support the article.
Who would like to read this?
Read it.
Okay, okay. If it passes, we haven't voted on it yet, but I'm just putting your name down. Any additional discussion? Okay. Motion. Does someone else want to make a motion? John feels conflicted.
I already made the motion.
Oh, we already made a motion. Sorry. Richard made a motion. I'm so confused. It's late. Okay. All those in favor of Article 9? Okay. All those opposed? We only have yes or no. We can't abstain for this one.
There's no abstaining
There's
if you're
no
here
abstention
anyway.
for warrant articles.
In favor,
Okay. So 7-1.
with strong reservations.
Yeah. I have strong reservations about open enrollment as a whole. Yes.
There's no right answer.
There is no right answer.
We'll see how things unfold.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you all. Where is my agenda? Okay, let me get back on track here.
I don't know where we are anymore.
Okay, we're going to go back to 8A, SAU Leadership Team Update, Superintendent Update.
All right, so this is a strategic plan update for January. Yes, please, thank you.
I'm going to read the superintendent's update because we don't want her to be able to talk. All right. Under growing our students, we continue to make steady progress in advancing the vision of a learner across the district. Most recently, the Lebanon Middle School Student Council engaged in a reflective activity exploring what the vision of a learner means to them. Student voice remains a critical component of this work, and their insights are helping shape how learner skills are understood and experienced across our schools. As we move through the first half of the school year, there is visible evidence in our buildings and district communications that demonstrates alignment with the vision of a learner and the development of a strong foundation for long-term sustainability. Learner-centered instruction continues to grow through meaningful partnerships with local businesses and organizations, including our STEM internship program and Take Flight, which provides students with authentic, hands-on learning experiences connected to real-world applications. Under the category of Grow Our Educators, robust professional learning continues district-wide. Several staff members recently participated in the Learning Forward Conference, focused on planning, implementing, and measuring high-quality professional learning, strengthening our collective capacity to ensure adult learning leads to improved student outcomes. Our next District Professional Learning Day is scheduled for March, and planning is underway to ensure it remains aligned with district priorities and educator needs. In addition, Dr. Robinson and the superintendent attended a college board session focused on expanding high school career pathways through AP coursework. These courses are designed for students interested in pursuing cybersecurity or business and entrepreneurship, further strengthening college career and workforce readiness opportunities for our learners. Under the category of Grow Our Systems, over the past several months, a significant portion of our work has been dedicated to budget development, with decisions consistently centered on our strategic plan and mission. Proposed budgets were intentionally aligned to support learner-centered priorities while also identifying efficiencies whenever possible to ensure long-term sustainability. The SAU Exploratory Committee continues to meet with the Lebanon City Council. Current discussions include the potential use of underutilized spaces for city departments, the examination of land surrounding the SAU, and the exploration of possible partnerships with external organizations for land use planning. The School Start Time Committee is currently on a temporary pause as we monitor and navigate ongoing state-level discussions related to open enrollment and its potential impact on our area partners. The superintendent is also pleased to share that our adult education program is expanding. In addition to our evening offerings, we are now providing a morning class option, and we have launched high-set preparation for our English learner adult students. We will apply for additional grant funding from the New Hampshire Department of Education to support and sustain this expansion. And then finally, under the category of Grow Our Family and Community Partnerships, we continue to receive positive feedback from families and community members regarding our district website and communication efforts, particularly around transparency and clarity during the budget process. This month, a working group has been formed to develop a student and family-friendly graduation planner to improve communication, reduce confusion, and ensure families feel informed and supported throughout the graduation process. You mean the transition? Yeah. Do we have any questions for the superintendent?
I have a question.
Yep.
Under the first Grow Our Students in the first paragraph, the Lebanon Middle School Student Council said that student voice remains a critical component. Can you expand on what they meant of what they're seeing with the student voice piece?
Sure. So from their podcasts to their work, they really are engaged. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Harkins for his work that he's done to build the culture and the engagement in this building. I'm finishing my 2.5 years at this point, has just increased too. It's because the students are having those voice and choice within their day, project-based learning. But I was really impressed that the student council took it upon themselves to take that vision of a learner and unpack it to what it meant to the middle school piece too. So that wasn't something that was directed from the SAU. So it was really impactful and I think shared on social media as well.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for the superintendent? No? Okay. Tim, business administrator update.
Good evening again. I'll start by saying, in the spirit of the corrections of the warrant articles, I misspoke on the default, not on the number, but on the tax impact. It's 45 cents default. I said 56 or whatever. It's 45 cents.
Do you want to go through that number impact?
Sure. You want the new numbers?
I think it would be important.
When
for
I
the-
did it the first time, I still had the $300,000 fund balance contribution. I lost that part, and I forgot to change it. So the default, assuming a $750,000 fund impact, fund balance return, it's 45 cents per thousand. It's 178.66 for a $400,000 house, 268 for a $600 house, 446.66 for a $1 million house.
And the
The
difference
differences
between,
are $69.24 for a $400,000 house, $103.85 for a $600,000 house, and $173.09 for a $1 million house.
Sorry, can you repeat those numbers per house?
The difference,
Yeah.
$69.24, $103.85, $173.09.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, the financial report has been in your packet. In the verbiage on page 27, I try to just sort of outline a little bit, where through December, we're 93.48% expended. That is 2.1% more than last year and 2.86 more than 2 years ago. I was thinking about trying to analyze why this is an educated guess, but I really think it comes down to I asked people to encumber super early this year. We're shutting off spending at the end of January. Nobody even usually thinks about it until April. So, because it's not the spent so much as the encumbrance changed a lot. So that makes sense. Everybody's aware that spending's being turned off. I'm getting several calls about it now. given the unassigned, this is basically the same paragraph as last time, the unassigned balances we've historically had, I don't see increased expenditures as a significant issue, except in the context of year-end spending. Special education tuitions are higher than budgeted. Ben and I are meeting every month at least. And I mentioned last time, I still think I'm gonna have to ask you to expend from the Special Education Trust. We have at least $500,000 of unbudgeted special ed tuition expenditures, at least. But we're analyzing bill by bill. Again, I've mentioned this before, it's very common for special ed departments. They encumber at the beginning of the year and the numbers towards the end of the year as far as for each student, because it usually goes on days and stuff, it changes. So just as important as making sure we have our spending all lined up is making sure our encumbrances for the future are in line instead of too high. So stay tuned. But we're doing okay, but our special ed expenditures are higher. This report does show the healthcare assessment first payment. I made that in December. That also includes about the $100,000 or so we spent on the asbestos. All in all, pretty much the same as last month. Pretty tight, but I think we'll be okay.
Any questions for Tim?
And revenues, I'll give you more details as we close, but revenues are right in order. We got our first of the year payment of, what's that fee, the impact fees, so that was good. I think we got like $75,000. So that was good.
I do have a question about the major over expenditures, including special education tuition. And that's some of it that relies on, we receive the reimbursement from the state at such a different date, or?
Yeah, Ben did a great job even educating me, like, last time he was here. So we pay that, it's basically we pay up front, and then we do through special ed aid in future years that you see in the revenue when we do budget, we get reimbursed, but it's like the next year. So special ed reports to the state what their spending is for this year, and the state uses that to calculate what our special ed aid will be for next year. So, well,
So if we're taking.
when I say next year, it's actually 2 years. We already have our projection for 27, it's in the budget. So spending for this year, we'll see in 28.
So if we're taking money out of the fund specifically for special education this year, does that mean when some of the money comes back next year, we can put it back in?
We can't put it back in unless there's a warrant article. That's what that warrant article number 7
Oh,
was.
okay, I see what you're saying, all right.
So that's a very good point, though. One of the reasons why the fund's there to protect us, but we can't go willy-nilly withdrawing. It's got to be accurate, or else, because once it's out, you know? I mean, until the voters put it back in, but you don't want to assume that's going to happen.
Right.
I think we should never be willy-nilly withdrawing on anything, ever.
Correct.
We're always withdrawing carefully. Any comments, other comments, questions for Tim?
I'm just looking at this thing, what are the, do we really spend $300,000 on the school board?
It includes legal fees, that's one thing.
Oh, okay. I was
It's
like,
not just-
what is the bulk of our, like, I'm counting like $9,000 for the
It's
year
not us.
on us.
The school board of 337,650, that budget,
Yeah,
that's, I mean, it's your salaries, which are huge, your $1,000.
Yeah, $1,000
But
each.
it's legal fees, it's a lot of advertising for,
Noticing
employment.
for meetings and that kind of thing.
oh, okay, so this is the advertising budget in there, the
Yeah,
legally
operational
required
stuff.
advertising.
Almost all operational stuff for the SAU building goes in 2310, which is superintendent's office, but sort of bigger district stuff like legal fees, special ed legal fees, they come out of
Okay.
that school board line.
So that's not all just us.
No.
No, correct.
I was gonna say, I don't think I've seen much of that.
I actually think there's a contracted services line that might, I don't want to misspeak. but-
Yeah. Okay, I was just curious. It's like,
Great.
someone
Okay.
else is getting paid more than I am.
All right, that brings us to the second reading of policies. We're in 9A. You've already seen these. This is the second reading of them. Richard, do you have a motion for us?
Well, first question, does anybody have anything they want to set aside from the approval of the second reading policies in 9A?
Anybody? No? Okay.
All right, then, I move that we send the policies listed in 9A 1 through 9. We fully approve, sorry, policies in 9A 1 through 9.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion by Richard, second by Tia. Do you have a question?
I just have one question. On policy KJ, one of the things that it says is that we strongly recommend that the booster club seeks recognition, right? I guess my question is, what if they don't seek recognition? Will we know that this booster club that isn't recognized has donated funds or materials to the district?
Go ahead.
So I think the reason why we strongly recommend it is because in collecting money from a large number of donors, you take on certain legal liabilities. We don't assume those liabilities if they donate the money to us, even if they're not a 501c3, as far as I'm aware. So really, we recommend that for their protection more than ours.
So, totally get it. My question is, will we know when a non-recognized booster club donates money as a board to the district?
We'll know that someone donates money,
Yeah.
right? Unless they tell us that, I mean, we know the
We'll
one.
know who the recognized ones are.
We'll know who the recognized, and we know the ones in existence, whether they're recognized or not. We know the ones in existence. So if one becomes in existence that we don't know about, and then they donate money, they'll go through our normal,
So we
Yeah,
can.
who are you?
right?
So we can choose to unaccept. That's all.
Absolutely right.
That's,
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely
just,
right.
I'm just making
Yes.
sure
Yeah,
that I'm.
we never have to accept money.
We want to,
We want
Of
to.
course we do.
generally,
course
but
we
we
do.
never have to.
If it seems
Yeah.
really dubious and
Okay. Any other questions for these A 1 through 9? Okay. All those in favor of approving the second reading for policies A 1 through 9? Okay, unanimous, great.
So I think this means that we can now update the website's mission statement, because I believe now that is officially our mission statement, and we can change it from the CARES stuff.
Okay, great. Well, Tyler and his team will be on it, I'm sure. Okay, then we're back to 10A, discussion and action, acknowledgement of a donation of $10,000 from the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation for the Hanover Street School Drama Club. Do we have any additional information on this?
Sure do. This will be,
Okay, can I read this?
yes.
All right, so this is for the, let me go to the letter, sorry. Sorry? Yes, so this is for donation towards stipends for the drama club at Hanover Street School, which has heretofore been unbudgeted. And so they reached out, the principal, I guess, or the drama club, reached out to the Byrne Foundation to get money for stipends for their heretofore volunteer staff. So, excuse me, we appreciate the donation, the generous donation from the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation. Does anybody have any other questions on that?
Is there a reason why we haven't budgeted for this extracurricular activity that's been around for a long time?
I'm gonna look to Tim, but I don't know if we have any elementary extracurriculars budgeted at all. So I think whether that's with the CBA, if we wanted to go through that process, or if that's something that we should consider into budgeting next year. Just, I know Mount Leb, I believe, is doing a theater program as well. I think they're doing it, kind of getting it going and volunteer, but eventually it may come up again. Maybe something that we want to consider just through the budget versus the CBA.
I know that the Hanover Street School PTO has often set aside a portion of our fundraising. I know that the Hanover Street Drama Club does bake sales and a lot of fundraising also. They create a lot of these efforts through a mighty team of volunteers. So thanks to the Byrne Foundation for their big support.
All right, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the $10,000 donation.
Acknowledge, I think we acknowledge.
what?
I think we just
Oh.
acknowledge. Do we need a,
Do we have
It
to,
said
do we have to
discussion and
approve-
action.
I
so-
know, and then
Do
I
we have
looked
to
at it and
approve
it's just
10,000 and
acknowledgement.
above?
I think you have to like acknowledge through a vote,
Okay, so
so.
however you want to word it, I don't care.
All right, so motion to approve the $10,000 donation from the Jack and Dorothy Byrne Foundation for the HSS Drama Club.
Okay, motion by John, second by Richard. All those in favor? Great. All right, we have done the rest under 10. And that brings us to 11, which is the first reading of another set of policies.
Right, so 11A1, GBGBA, basically combines and rewords policies 10, 11, and 12.
Okay, you've got to move your mic closer. It's not,
Really, I'm fairly close to it.
no,
I don't
it's,
know what's
no,
going on
like
with
really
this.
close.
Okay, I'm gonna stick it in my mouth.
There you
I feel
go.
like I'm a sports. We sportsed hard, and I think we're gonna sports harder next time.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So the first policy, GBGBA, use of automated external defibrillators, is updated and is going to replace, which was a previous policy that was triple coded, and I'm really glad that that's going away. So that's the three that are being rescinded in 10, 11, and 12. Those are just the one we're replacing with number 1. Does anyone have any questions about any of the others?
I always have questions.
Of course you do.
EHLB. I have a question about, it is under letter B, procedures for received subpoenas, and then D.
You have a page number, John?
It is, I'm not in the gigantic packet, I'm online, sorry.
That's
It's the last page of that policy.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's yeah.
And it's the consultation with council. And one of the things I wondered about was the most senior administrator available at the SAU. And I wondered if we wanted to include that. I feel like the superintendent or superintendent's designee, I would like to know that our superintendent has designated someone when they're not around for things like this. And I would hate to see superintendent not there, Tim not there, and our HR person, the most senior administrator. I don't know, that's just me.
So I think the reason we kept it in there was simply in case those two people are absent and a subpoena is produced, we need to have a backup plan for who calls the lawyers.
Yeah.
Sort of, I mean, it does say the superintendent or the superintendent's designee, and it should be, or in their absence, that should be the.
You're right, that should be in their absence.
But,
That makes it better. I like that better.
okay,
Yeah, that's what it was intended to be, I think. This is a NHSBA language,
yeah.
so
or
it
in
can be
their
easy to take it for
absence,
granted.
Then it'll be somebody else. Yeah. You have another question?
Different policy.
Yep, go on.
Am I the only one?
I'm in policy, I've already read all these.
I see. And
I see. Okay.
School year.
I kind of get stuck on A, school year, and then D, school calendar, and wonder if we should clean this policy up a little bit more. We're an hours district. We've been an hours district for a long time. We don't really need to include the CBA numbers if we just say, it's established based on CBAs or something like that. So I feel like we could generalize this policy a bit more and take out some of those things that I know have caused some issues in the past as CBAs have changed, but the policy didn't.
That's a really good point. Why don't I leave this one off? We'll send it back to policy, and we'll fix that. I think it's a really good suggestion. The only other changes to this are just kind of basic language changes. Instead of distance education, remote learning, we're just updating the terms there and updating the 306 references.
And I think actually, we talked about this in EC, so this is a good thing that we're pulling this one out, that we might want to take out the language for when it will be approved, the dates for when it will be approved.
Okay.
Because we've had a lot of trouble in the past several years with Hartford changing their calendar late and then us having to change late. So I think that's to John's point, I think that's a good idea as well.
Okay, well, we'll remove IC from this and we'll send it back for more work.
That's all I had.
Okay.
I always thank the policy committee for their work.
Productive as ever, thank you.
Okay.
So in the absence of any further commentary, then I move that we take the policies in 11A 1 through 12, accepting a 11A 8 IC school year, and move them to second reading for the board meeting on
February 11th, is that our next?
January 28th.
Sorry, January 28th.
January 28th.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Okay, any additional questions, commentary? No? All right, all those in favor? Okay, great. Perfect.
And I'd like to also move that we mark policy FAA, the annual facility plan and unused district property, as reviewed. Or
Okay.
accept that it was reviewed.
Yeah, except that it was reviewed by the policy committee. A motion by Richard,
I'll second.
second by John. Questions? All right, all those in favor? Great, thank you. Okay, we will reopen the meeting for public comment. Is there any public comment in the room? I do not see anybody. Is there any public comment online?
If you're online and would like to speak in public comment, please raise your hand, and I can promote you to a panelist. There's no public comment online.
Great. All right. Committee updates. Finance and Facilities, the next meeting is January 27th at 4 p.m. at the SAU. Policy Committee met today, actually. The next meeting is February 2nd at 8:15 a.m. Policy Committee just went over a bunch of D policies that are required that we look at every year. You'll see those soon. Education Committee met on January 8th.
Yep, and we looked at the calendar for next school year and the athletic handbook, which should be coming to you guys soon.
The next meeting is scheduled for February 5th. PNN, the next meeting is TBD. Student wellness.
Is the February 5th our next meeting, or is it March?
It's,
I think you canceled the 5th.
we, did we cancel the
February.
5th? We left.
Printed that, yeah.
We canceled the 5th, that's right.
Good catch,
It was
Leila.
printed before we
Yeah.
did this. Okay, and so it's March, I don't even know what day it is, but something in March. Anyway, we'll fix it. All right, PNN, next meeting is TBD. Student Wellness Advisory Committee, the next meeting is scheduled for February 12th. HATTC, the next meeting is scheduled for March 18th. Area Committee, the next meeting is scheduled for February 17th. School District and City Task Force, we met on January 13th. Want to talk about that? Or want me to talk about it? Okay. So we met last night. We met last night with the School District and City Task Force, and we talked primarily about two things. One, a potential agreement between the city, the school district, and the Boys and Girls Club to construct a early childcare center on land that is partially school district land and partially city land that is on, what is the name of that road that I'm going for? Aldrich, on Aldrich Road, kind of where the edge of our field is and the edge of their field is. We talked about, they had a sort of a concept. We talked about what questions we need to know. We have some legal questions we have to track down the answers to, which Amy is following up on. The theory would be that we all three would enter into a lease agreement together, and then that building would be constructed through a federal grant, fundraising by the Boys and Girls Club, and various other things. So there's a lot of details about that we do not know yet. We may have to have, just as an FYI to the board, we may have to have a working session when we have some more details about this. We may have to have a meeting to just hash out. It's a little complicated, and it would be good to know what it is that we are doing. So that might be off of our normal scheduled meetings. And we also discussed the potential around a land swap for the land that the Dana House is on, that the city owns, which is school district land, and the land that the shed is on, which the school district owns, which is city land, and then potentially subdividing plots and all this. So there was lots of discussion. It was a really productive meeting. We learned a lot of things, but then we just raised a lot of questions as well. So we will getting back to you as we get more information about the possibilities of these things going forward at all.
Is there, I know it's very complex and dense, so thank you to everyone on the committee who's been working towards this, but is there a timeline in mind?
So
By the task
the 1.6 million from the federal grant will disappear if evidence has not been made that we are working towards trying to spend it. There is no timeline for when that will happen specifically, but the sooner the better, because the more that the time passes, then it's easier for the grant, the federal government to say, well, you're not making progress on this grant, so we're just going to rescind the grant. But there isn't like a specific timeline. So sooner rather than later, but what would probably happen if we decided to do this, and again, this is after we get more information and figure out if it's even legal to do, if we would probably be just authorizing the superintendent to go into negotiations, to learn more in negotiation. We wouldn't be authorizing the project. We can't authorize the project right now. We don't know enough about it to do, but to go into information gathering about the project.
I'd bring back a contract for you guys to look at to see if this would work in conjunction with the city and the other programs. Sorry.
No, thank you, Amy. Thank you.
So it is an exciting idea, but there are 75 moving parts, and because it's school district and city and the Boys and Girls Club, it is complicated even more than regular. So we're going to we're going to trace down the legal requirements that we have. We're going to talk about if we move forward, we'd be sharing expenses about this, and to the extent that we have expenses for things like surveying and that sort of thing. That's what we talked about. I think that was all we talked about. Oh, and just we talked about budgets briefly. The City Housing Task Force. It's been so long. Have you?
We met on December 15th, talked about the various outreach events that had been done by the task force and the city, including the surveys and things, housing stories. We talked about the completed studies, and the next step, and we're meeting January 20th, is to start writing the master plan housing chapter.
Great. Okay. Future agenda items, board member recommendations or questions?
I just wanted to clarify the next education committee meeting is March 5th.
March 5th, thank you. And I just want to give you a heads up. I will be sending a flurry of emails about board self-evaluations and the superintendent annual evaluation. Those will come with some deadlines for things to be completed in super eval. Please get them completed by the deadline that I give you, because if you don't, then I will hound you, and it's not fun. Because we have to get that done. Both of those things have to be done before elections. So we want to make sure that we are following them. So you'll get them in the next week with plenty of time to think about them and talk about them. Okay. Important dates and district announcements. The next school board meeting is January 28th here at 6:30 p.m. And the deliberative session is January 31st at 9 a.m. here at the gym. The snow date is February 2nd at 6 p.m. at the gym. Is there any other business? Okay. I think that we are done. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Richard, second by John. All those in favor? Okay, great.